This is Lagers and Loudmouths, Conversations Unfiltered.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 15 of Lagers and Loudmouths. My name is Ty, and I am sitting here with my co-host Cam. And today we have a couple solid topics for you today. But before we jump into that, Cam, why don't you introduce what beer we're drinking today?
Yeah. Welcome back, guys. Sorry, you just get the two of us today. We no guests today, but we do have a fun guest planned for our next episode and a great topic, so stay tuned for that one. Today we're drinking Crafty Bastard. If we've talked about them at least once before on the podcast, but Crafty Bastard Brewery is out of Knoxville, Tennessee. They're one of the OG craft breweries in Knoxville. They've been around since 2014. One of the first ones I actually went to when I moved here, them and Sawworks. Were you here when Sawworks was around?
No, I don't think I was ever at Sawworks.
Yeah, Sawworks was kind of one of the OGs. I think they were even early 2000s, but I think they went under at some point in time, bad business or something.
Yeah, we've had Crafty on the podcast before.
We have. This one is Got Your 6 Double Hazy IPA, coming in at 8%. I'm sure it's going to be a little strong. What do you think?
I was just looking at my can, and you said 8%. Mine says 9.2%.
Does it?
Let me
see.
What's your can-on date?
My can-on is 1.9.
Mine's 1.19.
Wow. All right. So 10 days difference gives you 1.2% more. I wonder, do you think that's aging, or are they same batch or different batches?
I'd anticipate that this was a different batch, but I'd be curious to see what the if there's any taste difference at all.
Well, we can share. Sharing is caring.
Yeah, sharing is caring.
All right. I'm going to taste mine 8%.
Yeah. Swap it.
I mean, it's great as an 8%er. Let's see how it is as a 9.2%er. Fun fact, mine tastes stronger. The 8%er tastes like it's got more flavor than the 9%er.
I would tend to agree, yeah.
It's interesting.
I feel like mine's smoother. Give mine back.
I like mine more, so we're good. I prefer the I guess the more harshness, but not harsh in a negative way, so yeah.
Shit, 9.2 at 10 a.m.
Well, and you've got a fun day planned. You got to go brew a beer. He's acting as a brewing teacher today at 1907, so he's going to go brew some beer and teach some people how to brew.
Yeah, we'll be done with that by the time this podcast comes out, but we're going to go out to 1907 today, do home brew on the patio, just a live home brew demonstration for anybody who's interested.
And you're doing a hazy too, yeah?
Yeah, we're doing just not a 9.2%, but it'll probably end up about 6.5%.
All right, if you're local and you want to taste it when Tyler gets done, just give him a shout.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so serious topic of the day. Should the government forgive existing student loan debt? And if so, to what extent and under what conditions?
We're going straight controversial. I like it today. And this is a potentially controversial topic. I mean, there are people on both sides of the equation here. Off the cuff, what's your answer? Yes or no?
No.
All right. My answer is yes with caveats.
I have a caveat to mine too, but
I think yes with caveats. Should it be sweeping? Everybody's that's got a student loan debt should just be cut out right now? No, absolutely not. You took out a loan, you are responsible for those loans. Should there be better stipulations on the way the government does it? Yes, 100%. We'll kind of get to that as we go. All right. So give me your no answer. Why do you think it should not be?
So you kind of touched on it already. I think actions have consequences, and you signed up to borrow money in return to pay that back. And I think that if you go under a contract like that, you need to abide by it. Plain and simple. I think people need to be responsible for their actions.
I don't disagree, but my counter argument to that is, when you were 18, could you go out and buy a house?
No.
For $100,000?
I mean,
no. You couldn't. No bank would give you a loan for $100,000 an 18-year-old, unsecured with no job. Could you go out and buy a car?
Probably, yeah.
A car, maybe, but you still have to show income. Why the hell are we allowing 18-year-olds to take an unsecured loan for $150,000 and they have no backing?
Yeah, I can definitely see that argument. I think the caveat to my no is that I think if there's any kind of, and we've seen this in the past, but if there's any kind of deception to the lender on the front end that becomes, aware later on.
And we're seeing that with Biden doing some forgiveness of the ITT techs of the world and things like that.
Things under that circumstance, yes, there was a little bit of, fraudulent action going on there. And I think that is an exception to the rule. I still stand by my answer, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. You go through grade school and high school, you learn, math, English, social studies, all these subjects. why isn't there a
financial literacy class?
Financial
100%.
personal finance.
I've said this as long as I've been an adult, because I didn't know any of this stuff as an adult. I just kind of had to learn it on my own. But why are we not teaching this?
Yeah, I think you could introduce it kind of in junior high, and then I think in high school, I think there should be 2 solid required years of you to take a personal finance class to prepare you for the real world. Because, yeah, like you said, you're 18 years old. Legally you're an adult, but I mean, an 18-year-old's a kid still.
You can't even drink a beer,
right? So,
but yet I can take out a loan for $150,000 to pay for school.
I do see that. I think taking out a loan isn't necessarily a terrible idea as long as you have a structured plan of what you want to do.
Agreed.
And I understand that a lot of, young kids don't know that.
And I agree. I think the fix is obviously, and I'll talk about some potential fixes for the current system, is that we need to teach people better financial literacy. But that doesn't address the question we're asking today. The question we're asking is, should we forgive those who did not have that ability to get that financial literacy? Yeah, I mean, future fixes, teach people how to do things, great, but
I don't know.
I'm on the fence with you too. Listen, I'm not saying it should be an all sweeping thing.
At the end of the day, I can see both sides of it, because, like, okay, you're 18, you're still really, really young, but it's not a difficult concept to grasp.
It's not. But if you're not taught it,
but
I know when
maybe I'm being harsh, but to me it falls under common sense to a degree.
Did you pay for your undergrad degree?
No, I was fortunate enough I did not have to, but I did. I did go do 2 years at community college to do an associate's degree.
That way you could get something paid for. Yep, gotcha.
Right.
Okay,
and that's significantly cheaper. It's the same courses and
same. I got lucky and got into a school that allows. That's basically free tuition if you get in. Great school, middle of Eastern Kentucky, Berea College. Look it up. It's free tuition if you get into the school. Acceptance rates are obviously pretty low because everybody wants to get in. But I didn't pay anything for my undergrad. Now, I took out a shit ton of student loans for my master's and doctoral degrees. In total, it was between Tiff and I close to $140,000. And that was kind of at the end of 2019 when we finished up our degrees.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because, you guys are in the medical education field. You guys both have PhDs. Those both have the potential to be significantly high paying jobs.
Agreed. And I think that's a good point.
So
to bring up.
that's where you can balance it out. When you said $140K between the two of you,
that's nothing.
That's nothing.
No,
that's a good ass deal.
And we've pretty well paid it off, and we were very fortunate that fortunate for us, obviously, COVID was not a good thing. I'm not advocating for that, but we got the 3 years of forbearance, which allowed us to make a ton of headway. So we're pretty well done with ours.
Going back to the kind of choosing your career path thing, it's like, okay, if you're going to go into the medical field or something crazy, like, okay, yeah, it makes sense to take out some student loans, because the income that you're going to get on the back end, the theory is we'll be able to pay for that. What I don't understand is when people go into college
and you want to do underwater basket weaving as your major.
Yeah, like a liberal arts degree or something.
No, listen, I love a liberal arts degree. Because Berea was a liberal arts college, and I think a liberal arts degree has its benefits in terms of making a better critical thinker, just kind of all-encompassing in the world, but you still have to have an endpoint. So mine was a liberal arts degree with an endpoint. So you have to have a degree that's going to get you something. Sure,
but it's like you get these kids that pick these dumbass majors.
No, they are.
And it's like, oh, I'm going to go into $100,000 of debt and I want to, do X, Y, Z. It's like, okay, how the hell do you think you're going to pay that back?
Yeah, and I was actually, Matt and I were running this morning and talking about this. I always like to bounce ideas off him before I come here. And we were saying that one of the potential fixes that the government may implement or could implement is, instead of saying, here's a blank check for your degree, they put caveats on it. If you're getting a degree that has a low potential, maybe we only give you $10,000 a year. If you're getting a computer science degree, so if you're going into art history, listen, I love art. Art's a very important part of our culture, but it doesn't pay. No, it's not. It's very rarely going to pay well. So if that's what you want, if that's what you absolutely love and want to get a degree in it, that's fine. But we're going to cap you at only $10,000 of loans.
Right, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody's choice.
No, 100%.
It's like you do whatever you want to do, but
Financially, there's got to be a benefit to it in order for me to loan you that money.
it needs to make sense. And I think it needs to make sense from both ends. It needs to make sense from the lender and the borrower.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
And I like I said before, I really think a lot of this can be circumnavigated with, education at the junior high school level before you get into the real world.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that'll ever happen.
It's such a common sense thing, though.
It is, and I think and this is my my plea to parents out there: teach your kids financial literacy. They're not going to do it in school. You have to do it. Teach your kids about investing early. If you're a parent now and you have a kid, especially a young kid, start a 529. Just Google 529 plan. It's basically a college savings investment plan. I got lucky and I didn't know anything about it before Amos was born, and just one of my colleagues just happened to ask me, he's like, "Hey, do you have a 529 set up?" And I was like, "I have no idea what that is." Basically, it's a college savings plan that's an investment plan. So now he's already got like 25 grand ready to go, and I put more in every month, and it's projected to be 80, 90 grand by the time he goes to college.
Yeah, that's smart because you don't want to be shelling that out.
But I had no idea about that unless somebody told me, and that's the problem is we're not being taught that stuff.
Yeah, and I think there's a big stigma that you have to go to college, and I'm a firm believer that I'm in favor of college. I think it does open a lot more doors for you than if you don't go to college. But
the stats very clearly show that too.
But I also agree that I don't think college is for everybody. And that's okay. There's people who don't go to college that make tons and tons of money. But you just got to understand what path you're going down and what your life is going to look like in 30 years after that.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk some stats. I like stats. So let's just kind of talk about our current student loan issues in the United States, obviously. So in the U.S., we currently have about 1.7 trillion with a T in total debt for student loans. In 2023 was actually the first year that we actually saw a decline in that. So, I mean, I guess we're trending in the right direction. It's estimated that about 43 million people have student loans of some variety, and the average debt is about 37 grand, which doesn't sound terrible, but and this is where I think we have a lot of issues, is interest rates with student loans. Mm-hmm. Interest rates are, I guess the right word would probably be predatory, the way they've got them set up.
I never had student loans, but what interest rates are we running at?
Now, ours were low. Like I said, I just paid mine off. Mine was low at like 5.75%. That's actually considered low.
Yeah,
I know you kind of gave me like an eek look there, but
yeah, I'm not a fan of debt, and I'm sure as shit not a fan of interest.
No,
so.
Exactly. But nowadays, your average interest rate for student loans it's approaching 10, 12%.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And that's the problem, is people can't get out from underneath them because they're basically just paying interest. They're making their monthly payment, but their monthly payment goes straight towards the interest. If it's a $400 payment, which is the average payment amount in the U.S. currently, 320 of that's going towards interest every month. So they're only paying 80 on principal. That's obviously, you're never going to get out from under that if it's a $50,000 loan.
And like I said, I've never had student loans, but I do have a mortgage, and
same concept.
It's the same concept. Yep. And it's like, I structured it in a way that I think works for me, but from the very beginning, I said, okay, this is my minimum monthly payment. I got this interest rate, but I'm going to pay an extra $250, $300 a month to try to take that 30-year mortgage and turn it into a 15 by just manipulating how much I voluntarily give above and beyond.
We did the same thing. We refied during COVID because rates were stupid low. They gave us like a 2.5% rate, and I couldn't say no to that.
That's a good ass rate.
Yeah, so so now I just pay. I've got it set up on biweekly instead of monthly, which equates out to one extra payment a year, and that's projected to save me like 4 years on the loan. So I'm going to pay off a house in 11 years.
That's solid.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it gets back to financial literacy. I didn't know this until I just I started enjoying learning about it, so I know a lot about it now, but people aren't taught this stuff.
Yeah, it's extremely important because, and here's the problem. It's not the sexiest of topics.
See, I love it.
Oh, I do too.
I like talking about finances. Yeah, I like talking about money, but you're right.
But I think we might be the exception to the rule.
And I also think that it's weird in a culture, like parents don't talk about money with their kids. Did your parents ever talk about like finances with you as a kid? I mean, the extent of mine was we were just poor, so there was nothing to talk about.
See, I think we had different upbringings because I cannot say that I was ever in a circumstance where I felt like I was deprived of.
But did
anything.
you know, like, if your parents were well off or not well off as a kid?
Yeah, I think I did.
You knew that you were good middle class people.
Yeah, I was able to just see that without even saying anything because it's like, we had a solid house.
Exactly.
We had,
you had all the things you needed.
Yeah, and it's like nothing was overly extravagant, but you could see like, okay, my parents work hard for this stuff. They take pride in it. They buy decent things that they can afford. So, I was never in a situation that was, similar to yours.
Yeah, well, no, I grew up dirt poor, and that's fine. No qualms there. I think it made me who I am. But getting back to my point is that we just don't talk to our kids about finances, and I think we should. I talked to Amos about finances, and listen, he's going to be 6 tomorrow. He doesn't need to know about finances, and I don't talk to him about like, hey, this is how much we have in investments. But
you asked if my parents ever talked to me about finances, and I feel like they have. I can't think of anything specifically, except I remember I had a computer in my room, and
you were a fancy kid.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't even know how the hell this happened, but it's like, I think my dad put QuickBooks on the computer and would like, or maybe it was when I had a checking account.
It was like osmosis. He was trying to get you to like play with it and learn about it kind of inherently.
Maybe he didn't put it on there. Maybe it was when I got a checking account and I started like balancing my own checkbook and everything like that.
Back in those days,
yeah. But it's like, but all that to say, I feel like I had experience at a fairly young age of, what the actual real world looks like in regards to how finances work. So honestly, I probably got more education than most, even if it wasn't direct, even if it was just through
indirectly through. Yeah. I got you. And that's fair. But again, I think that's, again, my plea. Get a 529 if you have a kid who's wanting to go to college. Even if they're not wanting to go to college, the great thing about a 529 is it can be for vocational school, it can be for anything. And if they decide they don't want to do any of that, you just get to cash it out. And all you have to do is pay interest on the gains at that point.
So capital gains tax. I'm assuming it's long
term at that point.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like 12, 15%. Yeah. I mean, like I said, Amos is projected. If he were to decide not to go to college, maybe I'd pay taxes on $40,000 at 12%. I mean, yeah, that's a little chunk of change,
sucks,
but still not bad.
Yeah, no, it's a win-win. It sounds like there's really no downside.
Yeah, so get your 529 and start talking to your kids about finances. Now, I'm not saying, hey, tell them about everything, but like talk about like how much do groceries cost, how much does school cost, things like that.
Yeah, everything costs money, and talk to your kids about career paths. I think it's really important for them to make their own choices of what they want to do, but also
make it realistic.
And guide them in a way, because I don't think anybody, or at least anybody that I know, has the perfect job that they absolutely love all the time. So there's always going to be some give and take with
there is, yeah.
But you need to find something that will make you financially stable and that you somewhat enjoy.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so let's get back to the topic then.
Yeah.
Are there any conditions in which you think student loans should be forgiven?
Yeah, like just the one I said before, unless there was any kind of incorrect information that was provided to the borrower regarding future earning potential of a specific program that turns out to be a blatant lie, or anything along that, any kind of fraudulent, hiding, suppressing information to the borrower when they're taking out a loan and making that decision. I think that I don't think that's acceptable. And if that is proven to be the case, like what'd you say, ITT Tech or something like that?
Maybe I'm throwing the number under the bus, but I'm pretty sure they were one of the fraudulent ones.
Yeah. I think if there's any kind of fraudulent activity, yes, I think that the borrower is entitled to a form of compensation, whether that's 100% reimbursement or a percentage of reimbursement. I do think that that's a special circumstance that needs to be looked at independently. But overall, I mean, if you take out a loan, I think you need to pay it back. And
what about like public student loan forgiveness is a big one. People who go into careers like law enforcement, firefighters, public school teachers, and this does exist already. Basically, if you commit 10 years to that service, public service, and you consistently make your payments over those 10 years, anything at the end of that 10 years is forgiven. You cool with that?
I think I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Considering teachers and firefighters and police
Are
officers
underpaid
are
as it
underpaid
is.
as it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
That's a little bit different. I guess private sector and public sector are kind of two different
It
things.
is,
But
yeah.
no, I don't think I have a overwhelming problem with that at all.
Okay, fair. What about if, so a lot of these, like I said, the biggest issue for a lot of people is the interest rates. Interest rates are too high. Their monthly payments going 80%, 90% to their interest. What about, let's just say you've paid for 20 years faithfully. You've made your payment for 20 years, and this happens more often than you would think. Somebody starts out with a, let's just say randomly, $75,000 debt, but their interest rate is like 8, 9%. They've paid faithfully for 20 years, 20 straight years, never missed payments. At that point, should they be forgiven? Because at the end of the day, if they've paid faithfully for those 20 years, they have paid their actual loan commitment. It's the interest that has kept them from getting to zero.
Yeah, but you signed a document saying that this is the interest rate.
And that's fair. That's fair.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think you should give some. This is gonna sound really shitty.
Well, we know you're an asshole, so it's
yeah,
okay.
right. That's fine. You shouldn't give somebody a pat on the back for doing what they're supposed to do.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like,
No, I get it.
I don't go to a car dealership, and I don't take loans out on cars anyway. But if I took a loan out on a freaking Lamborghini or something and paid,
You should.
no, I shouldn't.
You should.
Don't. That's a whole other topic. Don't finance cars if you can't, and it's fucked up. Anyway. Now I lost my train of thought. I got all pissed off about that. What were we talking about?
The length of the loans, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, if I go take out a, loan on a Lamborghini and I pay that loan for 20 years and I still owe, $50,000 on it, they shouldn't be like, hey, we didn't get all our money, but
They did. They got the cost.
No, they didn't. They got the cost, but companies aren't.
So
in
is that not
business-
predatory then on the company's part?
No, because you are asking somebody for money that you don't have. Somebody is going to give you that money. They're not going to ask for that money back evenly because that you are putting a burden on them. There has to be a return for them to let
and I
you borrow
agree.
the money.
It is a business at the end of the day.
Right.
But all right, so then that brings me to my next potential. Maybe we'll call it a fix. A fix for student loans is, should interest rate be capped at, let's say, 2.5%?
That's an interesting.
Would that be a good kind of middle ground?
That's a really interesting question. And that's one thing I don't think I'm very educated on in regards to how lending works. I don't know how the interest rates are actually calculated.
So it's actually daily for student loans. You get charged
Jesus.
daily. I know. It was funny because I was watching mine until I paid them off a couple months ago, and like every day it would bump up by like, I don't know, it was like $12 or $14 because it's daily interest accrual instead of monthly or yearly or quarterly.
Fuck that.
See, that's the predatory. That's the argument that these are predatory.
But the thing is, that is all spelled out in the contract.
It is. If you know how to understand a contract as an 18-year-old.
Ask somebody.
I mean, that's fair. You should. You shouldn't be just signing things without knowing.
We have supercomputers in our pockets. The information is out there.
No, it is. I won't argue with that.
Research it. Just a public service announcement. Read contracts before you sign them. And if you have questions, ask the lender. If you are still unclear, actually, even if you're not still unclear, ask somebody else.
To explain what it means to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make sure that what you are signing, you actually agree to, because that's what you are legally bound to do. And
if you want to get a degree for underwater basket weaving,
right,
then that's your commitment. No, and listen, I don't disagree with you that you should know your finances.
And here's part of the problem I have with it too is that, if we start forgiving all of these student loans, somebody's paying for it. Somebody is paying for it.
That's a good point.
Who's that person? Who are
the
those
taxpayers?
People?
100%.
Exactly. So,
taxpayers might argue that, hey, you're sending, and again, I'm not getting into political debate, but you're sending how many billions of dollars across the sea to.
I get that.
So why not take care of your own people at home?
I don't disagree with that at all. But
yep.
I'm going to talk in reality for a minute because that's not the actual world we're living in right now. Why should you have to, carry that financial burden for we pay our bills. We are paying our debts.
Yeah, no, if somebody came up to me today and said, hey, we can pay off everybody's student loans if you give me an extra $2,000 a year in taxes. Are you willing to do that?
$2,000 a year personally?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, would it make me a dick saying no? Yes, probably, but...
I'll be a dick. No, I will
not. Yeah, no, I agree. And that's kind of where I kind of come back to your side on this is I should not be financially responsible for your decisions.
Exactly.
So if there's a way to forgive without putting that burden onto somebody else, I think I'm kind of in favor of it.
I would tend to, I wouldn't say I tend to agree, but I would entertain that idea. And that goes into the whole U.S. government political system and funding and all that crap. And we're not going to get into that.
Just to kind of put a cap on this discussion, current estimates have shown that the Biden-Harris administration have forgiven up to $153 billion already for about 4.3 million borrowers. And everything they've done, none of it has benefited me. So, and I'm 100% fine with that. But everything they've done, I think I pretty well agree with, because most of it was, a lot of it was predatory stuff. A lot of it was, again, like the ITT tech. I'm sorry if I'm throwing you under the bus, ITT tech, but I'm pretty sure you're a shit ass. So I'm okay with it.
I didn't go there, so.
I did.
Oh, did you?
Oh, no, not ITT tech, no. I legit think they're one of the bad ones, but if they're not, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I really don't care. So that's the thing is the 153 million has been forgiven, and most of them I agree with because they're doing it for the people who genuinely need it. Yes, those people signed a loan. Yes, those people probably should have had better financial literacy, but they didn't. And again, I understand your point is that they should have asked questions. But at the end of the day, is it okay to help somebody else? I mean, yes.
But here's also part of the and I don't want to extend this longer than it needs to be, but it's like during COVID when they kind of put a deferral.
That was amazing. It's the only reason we paid off $140,000.
Well, here's the thing. You saw that as an opportunity.
That's a good point. A lot of people saw that as, hey, I got extra money to spend.
That's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
You took it from the correct standpoint. We're like, oh man, I can
make some headway.
I'm gonna dump a shitload of money in this and get ahead of the game. Whereas a lot of people said,
I need a new TV. I need a new 4-wheeler.
Yeah. It's like they didn't pay, and then they said they didn't pay because that was right around the time where they were talking about student loan forgiveness. So they were trying to hold out and not pay anything to see if the whole thing will get reimbursed.
It was.
That's a fucked up way of trying
to listen,
operate.
I was doing that too because I was not required to pay. But while I was doing that, the money that I would have put towards the loans, I was just sticking into a savings account. And then once we found out that nothing was getting forgiven, I was just like, bam, here's your $50,000 that I've saved over the last 3 years.
And that's not a terrible way to do it, I don't think.
No, I mean, if somebody's going to say, hey, here's $20,000, you're not going to turn it down.
No,
of
course not.
All right. So, all right. To put a cap on it. Give me your final thoughts.
I'm pretty damn firm on this because
that's fair.
I think
I agree with a lot of your opinions, but I disagree. I don't disagree. I think that the issue that I come in with the most is that this is a disservice as parents. Listen, I put everything back on parents. It is not my kids' job or my school's job to teach them this stuff. I am their parent. It is my job as a parent to teach them this stuff. So I put the fault back on parents to teach their kids financial literacy. If we could learn that, I think a lot of this issue would be gone. And I do think that the current generation, whatever you call them, it wouldn't be millennials. I don't know.
Gen X.
Gen X, yeah.
Gen Z? No, Gen Z? I don't fucking know.
Hell if I know. I don't know where we're at. But the current generation is doing better because they've seen how much our generation, the millennial generation, the Gen X, the one before us, is suffering from this. So I think they've learned through our faults, which, again, good or bad, it is what it is.
And again, the information is out there.
It is. It's out there, especially today. I mean, when I went to college in 2006, computers existed. They weren't to the level they are now. People who went to college in the 80s and 90s, maybe they have a fair argument because the information wasn't out there, but they could have still asked.
Sure.
They could have said, hey, what am I signing? Explain this to me in detail. Again, I see both sides 100%. I'm okay with forgiveness if the conditions are right. And I think that we completely need to overhaul the current system because, yes, if I want to better myself, I should not have to pay an 8-10% interest rate. I'm okay with the bank getting theirs. The bank needs to get theirs. They are giving me a loan.
Sure.
That's fine. But let's put a cap on that, 2-3%.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that.
And I don't think most people would,
No.
except the banks.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. All right. Let's put a cap on this. So, yeah, tell us what you think about student loan forgiveness, one way or the other. Again, we obviously kind of played both sides of the coin. Tyler is more against. I'm more for in certain circumstances, just because I've been there. But tell us what you think one way or the other on student loans. All right, what's our fun topic?
I think you should introduce a fun topic.
All right, it's a fun topic. I was just thinking, what's something we can talk about that's, potentially controversial. It depends on the person. It's your top 3 movies of all time. And I went back and forth on this one for a while yesterday when I was thinking about my answer.
Yeah, I was struggling with this a little bit. And I think a lot of people, at least my top 2, they're going to be like, that's dumb. But they're my favorite.
All right, let's go backwards then. Let's go 3 to 1.
Okay.
No, what's number 3 for you?
Number 3 for me is The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, that's a good movie. All right,
I like that
Leo
movie.
and Jonah Hill.
Yeah, I love Jonah Hill in that movie.
Jonah Hill is great in that movie.
Yeah.
That's probably one of his peak movies.
I don't know if this is still true or not, but I don't even know if this is accurate, but I feel like I've heard that The Wolf of Wall Street took the record for the number of times that somebody said fuck in a movie.
Until they listen to this podcast.
Yeah, until
the one last with Bill.
Yeah.
Talking about donkeys. If you haven't listened to that one, listen to that one. It's hilarious.
What about you? What's number 3 for you?
So, all right, like I said, I struggled with this, and I have a top 3 list, and then I also have an honorable mention list.
Okay.
So my top 3, I've actually got 2 because I couldn't decide between the 2.
Okay.
Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Okay.
Jurassic Park.
I
knew you were going to say Jurassic was up there.
Jurassic is up there, and I think it's
Is it honorable mention
it's honorable
for you?
mentions for
Okay.
me, but Jurassic,
The OG Jurassic Park.
I like dinosaurs,
I like dinosaurs.
but no, that was my.
look at my wall over there.
I know.
I got it right there.
That was my childhood growing up, was Jurassic
Oh,
Park.
100%.
So that's got a special place in my heart. I got the freaking red 90s Jeep now.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
You got the Jeep?
Yeah, I love that movie. It's such a good movie.
It's a Jurassic Park. All right, before we get to number 2, give me one of your honorable mentions.
Oh, man. Probably Avengers Endgame.
Okay. All right.
Which arguably could be on this list.
It could be, and I think just the fact that Marvel has been so overdone the last decade is what kept me from putting them in my list.
See, I don't think, but you don't strike me as a person who's really into the whole.
I enjoy them as movies. Like, I will 100% sit down and watch all of the Marvel movies.
You're more passive with it, though.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not something I'm going on. Your dog's name is Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would sleep with Robert Downey Jr. if you came here right now.
Probably.
No, not probably. It's 100%. No, all right, that's fair. I did like Endgame. And are they coming out with more?
Oh, yeah.
Is that like to play off of
I think-
Thanos snapping his fingers?
Yeah, I think they're going into I think they already have entered into like the second phase of their movies. 'Cause,
Okay.
like the first decade was all like the OGs, Iron Man,
Yeah, Hulk, all
Thor,
that stuff,
Hulk,
yeah.
Captain America, all that. I think they kind of
So they built up the characters.
and now they're kind of doing the second generation
yeah.
offshoots.
What
and
was the
stuff
one
like
with
that.
Dakota Johnson that just came out?
Oh God, I don't know.
The woman, I love Dakota Johnson.
You talking about?
Mainly because of 50 Shades of Grey, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so that's a good one. That's a good honorable mention. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 honorable mentions, five honorable mentions.
I was not prepared for honorable mentions.
Because I had such a hard time picking 3, so I had to throw in a few. I'll give you one right now. Rocky, the OG Rocky.
Rocky's solid.
Yeah, the OG Rocky. It's the only sports movie I have on here. Obviously, I'm a big sports guy, but and then if you just kind of hear the background story about how Sylvester Stallone was, he legit had to sell his dog to make the script for this, and then he went to, I think, multiple different agencies. He's like, this is the script. If you want it, I'm starring in it. And then we saw what that turned into for his career.
Right.
He's the action hero of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So I think the story behind it, plus it's just a great movie. Who doesn't love an underdog story?
Yeah, absolutely.
All
It's a
right.
fantastic film.
Number 2. What's your number 2?
Number 2, Talladega Nights.
God damn, Talladega Nights. All right, I mean, it's a great movie. I love you, Ricky Bobby.
I love that movie so much. I was a diehard NASCAR fan growing up. Having that movie come out, Will Ferrell is phenomenal in that movie. I just think it's hilarious from start to finish. It's one of those movies that if I see it on TV, I will.
You're stopping.
Yeah, I'll stop and watch it every single
And
time.
you can't go wrong with Will Ferrell.
No, it's just a stupid, fun movie. It's got a lot of good one-liners, and I just love it.
Is that your favorite Will Ferrell movie?
Yes.
What's your number 2?
Step Brothers.
That's a close second, yeah. All right, I like that. Elf is probably up there for me. I like Elf just because, I mean, the nostalgia of Christmas.
I'm not a big Christmas guy by any means, but Elf is a solid film.
Yeah.
What's your number 2?
My number 2, I'm cheating here a little bit, but I picked the entire Lord of the Rings series.
Never seen them.
Oh my God, you embarrass me. We can't be friends anymore.
See, in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Do you have a Blu-ray player at home?
Yeah.
All right, you can take them. I've got them up and down.
I won't watch
upstairs. God damn it! Why?
Because I hate movies that are long as fuck. And I know Wolf of Wall Street's a little bit long. Wolf of Wall Street's a little long, but
listen, be smarter. Your short attention span can do better than an hour and a half.
Yeah, I don't want to watch a 3-hour movie.
See, and when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about what movie am I willing to watch over and over again? That for me, I think that's kind of what makes top 3 lists.
Yeah, that was my criteria as well.
There's lots of movies I like, but I was like, I've seen it once or twice. I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah, I'll give you another honorable mention.
All right,
Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt.
That's
a good one. I haven't
Cult
watched
classic.
it in years.
I love it.
All right, so if you're giving another honorable mention, I'm going to go another one as well. Again, it's on my wall back behind me, The Goonies.
Oh, yeah. Cult classic.
Again, you can't go wrong with Goonies. And I think it kind of plays off of the, all right, so my number 3, I gave you Raiders of the Lost Ark and Jurassic Park. I think it kind of plays off of that adventure kind of kid nostalgia. So, yeah.
Yeah, you struck me as kind of the adventure movie type.
Yeah, I do like those. Yeah. Those were fun as a kid. All right.
You want to go number 1?
Number 1.
Iron Man 2.
God, of course it is. We already talked about Robert Downey Jr.
I was struggling with this one.
The second one.
I think I enjoy the second one more as a film. But
Now give me the plot line of the second one versus the first. First one's when he's in the desert and he kind of gets the heart, right?
Yeah, so movie number 1 was kind of his origin story. Yeah. And watch Iron Man 1, that opening scene when he's driving in the Humvee with the army and gets blown up and everything like that. It was essentially his origin story about how he was captive and, built the arc reactor and then, changed it into a suit to escape the Middle East or whatever. I haven't watched Iron Man 2 so damn long. I'm due for it. To me, it's a lot of the same storyline.
Well, they are, and that's why I couldn't put Marvel in my list because you do get a lot of the same thing kind of over and over again.
See, the thing is though, it's like,
but they're enjoyable. I love watching them.
Maybe I'll change my answer to Iron Man 1. That movie was so fucking solid.
In my opinion, that's the best Iron Man because you do build the origin story, and he's got to get out of the desert being captive, and
right. Interestingly enough, if you look at all 3 of my movies, all of the main characters are just total narcissists.
Well, that tracks.
That tracks.
That tracks. Have you met Tyler? All right.
What's your number 1?
Number 1 for me is Forrest Gump.
Oh, God, I hate you.
Why? Because you don't like Forrest Gump?
I hate that movie.
Oh, I hate you now. You don't like Lord of the Rings. You won't watch Lord of the Rings. You don't like Forrest Gump.
Again, it's a 3-hour fucking movie.
It's like 2.5, but nonetheless, I mean, it takes you through so much American history through the 80s and the 90s, and you'll learn a lot. And
you were there when we were in Savannah, right? And fucking walking around trying to find the stupid Forrest Gump bench for like an hour.
Kate got so mad at us.
I was pissed. And it's
well, we followed where MapQuest took us, or Google Maps took us, but apparently we got there and we legit walked probably, I don't know, it's probably 30, 45 minutes to get to this bench, the Forrest Gump bench that he's sitting on in the opening scene with his box of chocolates, because we wanted to see it. Dan was with us, and Dan, if you don't know Dan, he was on our podcast a while back, but he's a big Forrest Gump fan as well because he's smart, unlike Tyler. And he wanted to see it, and we all wanted to see it because, I mean, why not? So we follow Google Maps, and Google Maps says go to this specific park. We walk. Takes us 30-ish, 45-ish minutes. We get there, we're looking around. We walk in circles for like 5 minutes, and some random guy says, "You looking for the Forrest Gump bench?" We're like, "Yeah." He's like, they moved it. It's like, son of a bitch.
Mind you, we passed 50 benches that look the exact
No.
fucking same as that bench in the museum. I'm like, just sit on any bench and take a picture. It's the same fucking bench.
So for me, obviously I like the movie. The plot line is good. But for me, it was nostalgia. Like I said, as a kid, we were pretty poor. We did not have cable growing up, so I couldn't just like randomly watch things. We happened to have this on VHS back in the day. So I would watch that on like repeat over and over and over again. So it's probably more of a nostalgia thing than anything.
I'll give you that from a nostalgia standpoint.
Do you have a nostalgia movie as a kid?
Jurassic Park's probably the biggest one. As I got older, Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, all right, that's fair.
Love Wayne's World.
I mean, that was before you were born, but nonetheless, it was
right.
You watched it.
It was cool too because in Wayne's World 1, they're like Aurora, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago, and we were
not that far out.
Yeah, we were in Southwest Chicago. Aurora was like 45 minutes away from us. So it was like it was a cool like major motion picture that was tied to the Chicago area, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, of course. All right, you got any more honorable mentions? You can think. I'll give you mine.
Yeah,
I got two more.
Go ahead.
Two more honorable mentions. First one is, and actually I want to hear yours on this. First one is animated movie. So mine is Lion King.
Okay. Animated movies.
And the reason, again, Lion King came out in 1994. I was 6 years old at this time, so kind of a nostalgia thing. Now my kid loves it. He watches the offshoot things. So,
all right, if we're going to animated movies, I think Cars is a good one.
Cars is great.
But going back to nostalgia, Monsters, Inc.
Monsters, Inc. Okay.
It's a solid movie, man.
Amos loves that one, too. Yeah.
Toy Story.
Toy Story, it did be a very close second to me for Lion King.
Yeah.
Because, again, they both came, I think Lion King was 94 and Toy Story was early 95.
I think I like Monsters, Inc. better than Toy Story.
Do you?
Yeah.
Toy Story's gotten, and same with Monsters, Inc., they've kind of gone haywire. There's another Toy Story coming out next year, I think.
Just kill it.
I agree.
Don't beat a dead horse.
And I've watched.
Damn! I just thought of another one.
Beating a dead horse?
No, yeah. Oh crap! I just lost it. What was it? All right, keep talking.
Don't beat a dead horse is what we said.
Yeah, I know. I had nothing to do with that.
Talking about Toy Story.
Oh, yes. Super Troopers.
Super Trooper. Oh, that's a good one.
Such a good movie.
That is a good one. I don't think. All right, so when you think of top three, do you think of in terms of what makes you laugh the most or what makes you think the most? And I think that's kind of how you have to approach it.
I think it comes down to the individual. Me, you
want to laugh.
I enjoy some movies you kind of got to think about sometimes. I like some action movies, but when I watch something, I kind of just want to turn my brain off and just enjoy it and not think too hard. So I tend to go towards the comedy movies in general. So that's kind of my
you're not there to get some sort of enlightenment out of it. You're there to be entertained for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
I want to be entertained.
Or 45 minutes because you can't sit through the Lord of the Rings.
But I like stupid humor, and I just like to sit back and not think too much and enjoy myself. So Super Troopers, that could be on my top 3 list, I think.
I would put it on my top 3 comedy list for sure. And I think that's kind of how you have to approach this, is from different genres. If you go different genres, it makes it a little bit easier. All right, so one more offshoot, just because it's fun. So we were talking about genres. We did animated. What is your top 1 or 2 action movies of all time?
Yeah, it's probably going to go back to Marvel.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't want to, like I said, beat a dead horse, but I like the Avengers. I like Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I thought Captain Marvel was very good.
That's fair. I got 2 that and again, when I think action, I'm not there for a storyline. I'm not there to be enlightened. I'm there for action.
Yeah.
I've got 2. The first one is the OG John Wick.
That's a movie I've never watched, but
you should. You'd enjoy them.
Yeah, no, I have heard phenomenal.
Have you seen any of them?
No.
You would enjoy them.
No, it's Keanu Reeves, right?
It's Keanu, yeah.
He's a badass. No, I think I would. It's been on my to-do list for quite some time because I've heard amazing things about it. I need to make time to actually watch that.
All right, that's your homework for the next podcast. We'll talk about it at the beginning. So the OG John Wick, and then the 2015, so Mad Max Fury Road.
Yes, Mad Max.
It's just straight action for 2 hours.
I love Mad Max Fury Road. That's such a
They're coming
great
out with
movie.
a new one.
Really?
Either later. I think it's this summer actually.
I'd watch it.
It's Furiosa was kind of the main woman. It's her. I think her storyline.
Oh, that's cool. Kate has never watched Mad Max, and I've.
Oh, you should get her.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
we need to watch Mad Max and
Date night.
I love. This is weird, but my favorite part of Mad Max was the crazy dude with the guitar.
Yeah.
Dude,
Just sitting there playing the whole time, and he was shredding too the whole time.
Back to one of our previous topics, where it's like your dream cars. I think it would be so badass
just to build something like that.
Build a Mad Max themed car.
That would be hilarious.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. All right. So that's your homework. Watch John Wick, at least the OG. We've seen them all at this point. I enjoy them for what they are. Again, you're not getting a storyline, or you're not getting like an enlightening storyline. You're just going to get action.
No, I want bullets.
Yeah.
Show me the bullets.
I think they've actually. Don't quote me on this, but I think I read an article a while back that said that the number of bullets shot in those John Wick movies supersedes any other movie ever.
I'm digging way back into my peanut brain here, but I did hear so Keanu Reeves, he's a badass action star, and he actually trains with firearms constantly to make sure that he's like as accurate as possible in his movies. And he actually invented a technique for reloading a pistol or an AR.
Just regular 9mm kind of handgun?
I think it's more on the rifle side of things, but guns, just to say guns. He kind of figured out this reloading technique that's actually been implemented kind of throughout the shooting industry, especially in competitions, where instead of just, pressing the mag release and pulling the mag straight down, he does this, he hits the mag release and does a kind of rotational flip with the gun
that causes it to fly out.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And it's actually
so he's using gravity or centrifugal force.
Apparently, fairly effective. I'd assume, especially if you have a flared mag well.
Nice.
So that's kind of cool too.
That is pretty cool.
And that's why I like Keanu Reeves, is because he's not just some jackass guy in a movie that's playing with a gun. It's like he actually trains with them and wants to know what he's doing so he can produce the best product on screen.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I definitely want you to watch John Wick before the next one. Just the OG. I mean, you can watch the other ones if you want. You'll want to after you see the first one.
I'm sure I'm going to watch all of them after I watch the first one.
Yeah, watch the first one before the next podcast, and we'll talk about it early. All right. So yeah, give us your top 3 movies. Give us the top 1 or 2, whatever you think they are. We don't care. Just tell us what your favorite movie of all time is, and give us a reason. Is it nostalgia? Is it you just like action? Is there some other reason you love it? Just tell us why. But before we cut off, hot takes.
Hot take.
We should get that in.
Dude, we need. After Bill did that, I'm like, I need to put that on there.
You should. We should get Bill to record it.
Yeah, we'll just get Bill to record it. That's
hot takes. All right, So normally I'm ill prepared for this category because I always forget about it. I've actually got a couple today.
All right. Do you want to go for it? Or do you want me to go for it?
How many do you have? Just one?
I just got one.
All right. So I'll give you my first one.
Okay.
So my first one is go buy vinyl. So I went to, there's a new record shop. So if you're local to us, go Jefferson City. It's called Soundtracks. It's a new record shop. He's been open a month or so. I went over there to get my haircut yesterday, and I'd planned on stopping. I took Amos in there to just look around, and I didn't know if I was going to buy anything or not. But from an industry standpoint, records make the artist significantly more than you streaming it. Yes, I know your argument is I could just get on Spotify and stream it right now. You know how much that gets them? Like fractions of a penny every time you stream it. Not even. I think it takes like 4,000 downloads or streams for them to make like $2, $3. So buy the vinyl. The artist actually gets a lot more. And again, the arts need to be supported. So go buy vinyl.
I would like to get a turntable.
You should.
I would really be interested in buying the entire AC/DC discography on vinyl.
Message this guy. So this guy's got a Facebook page, Soundtracks. Message him on. He's actually. It's funny because if you ask him, he posted on his Facebook or the Instagram page like what did people request, and he'll get it for you. So he'll get the whole discography for you. He'll save it for you, put it back. So,
yeah, I didn't know that. I need to check that out. That sounds cool.
Check it out.
Because I need to spend more money on stuff.
Well, listen, I mean, you got to support the arts. The arts aren't supported enough.
Yep. Cool. All right. My hot take of the week. Good is the biggest enemy of greatness.
All right, elaborate.
Now,
I think I know where you're going here.
Okay. So, our last podcast, we talked about failure, and that's a pretty good driver to get better, right?
Yep.
Well, getting better is incremental. So, you're gonna be bad at something when you first start. Then you're gonna keep working at it. Then you're gonna get pretty good at it, And I think it's very easy to kind of get into kind of a groove of saying, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at this. I'm gonna keep doing this, and whatever. But the problem is when you get good at it,
You get complacent.
exactly. You're okay with the status quo,
And
And you
I
stop-
can see that in my own life.
and you stop pushing yourself.
Yep.
So I think failure drives you to get better, but I think when you get good at something,
Try to get great at it.
it's a bigger hurdle to get over that failure to good than it is from becoming good to great.
Yep. And not to say like greatness needs to make you the next Jimi Hendrix if your goal is to play guitar, but no, you should always strive to be better. And if you get complacent, no, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Honestly, I didn't come up with this. I heard it in a quote sometime in the last couple of weeks. I forgot where I heard it from, but I'm like, I'm going to put a pin in that. That's going to be my hot take because I really connect with that kind of statement.
And people do that a lot. They'll get good at something and they're like, oh, all right, I'm good at this. Why do I need to keep going? Well, why do you not want to be great at it? Why do you not want to be the best at it?
Exactly.
So yeah, no, I like that a lot. That's a good hot take.
All right, give us
All
your
right, my
final
last one is just an easy one. As I was running this morning, I smelled the honeysuckle. You ever smelled fresh honeysuckle?
I can't say that I have.
You should.
Okay.
That's my hot take. Go smell the honeysuckle.
Okay.
It's only out for like a week or two this time of year when it just kind of fresh. So I was running through, I run trails mostly. So we were running through the trails this morning. It just kind of hit me in the face. I was like, man, that smells amazing.
So if you see me at Panther Creek smelling the ground, just mind your own damn business.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly. 100%. Just go smell some honeysuckle. It's good. It's good to be outside, good to be in nature. So go smell some honeysuckle.
All right, Cam, why don't you take us away?
All right, so thank you for joining us on episode 15 of Lagers and Loudmouths. Like I said, we're going to be back in a couple of weeks, and we have a very special guest. She's got some great topics to talk about, so I'm super excited about this one. Probably one of the more excited ones I've been excited to talk about in a while. So come back in a couple of weeks and check that one out. In the meantime, tell us what you think about student loans. Tell us what your top 3 movies of all time are.
Thank you for tuning in to Lagers and Loudmouths. Be sure to never miss an episode by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast streaming service. If you would like to provide feedback or suggest a topic for a future episode, please reach out to us at lagersandloudmouths@gmail.com.